Hi there guys, welcome to Box Spread. In this video I'm giving you my thoughts and opinions on the fight that's happening this weekend in the heavyweight division. Sees David Price going up against Tony Thompson. I actually think this is quite a meaningful fight, and I actually think it has the potential to be a really good fight. I believe it's going to be a bit of a tougher test for David Price. I think it's definitely a step up in class as far as he goes compared to who he's been fighting. Now, let's talk about Tony Thompson. Why do I think this is, or may be, a tough test for David Price? Now, Thompson's a southpaw. He's a good mover. He's not standing still. He has experience. Okay, he's been around the block. He's fought at world level. He's fought Vladimir Klitschko twice. Okay, he's lost. But if you watch him against other opponents outside of the Klitschkos, in general, he's always been good enough to beat them. He's, against other top American domestic fighters, he's always, in general, come out on top. And he's always looked pretty good to me. He is a good, solid boxer. He's definitely no mug. He is someone you can't take lightly. He's got some intelligence in the ring. He does little subtle things, which enabled him to turn the tables on his opponent. His only meaningful losses have been to Vladimir Klitschko. Those two stoppages. The first loss was by TKO in the 11th round, and in his last fight he lost he was stopped in the 6th round. So he did last for most of the fight in the first one and half of the fight in the second. And by his own admission, he was basically not on form for that last fight he had against Vladimir Klitschko. And we always hear boxers say that because they're trying to create excuses, but I actually tend to agree with him. If you look at a couple of the fights previous to that Thompson had, he actually looked pretty good in there, and I thought he did look a bit lackluster against Vladimir Klitschko. But then many guys tend to, when you're going up against the best, when you're jumping that step up, who can tell whether it was a lack of performance or whether just Vlad was just too good. He throws punches. He's not afraid to throw punches. He's not one of these guys who hides behind a shell and takes a beating for 12 rounds and, just survives. Thompson's one of these guys who gives himself a chance to win a fight. And he actually has quite a good punch output. Something he's known for is having a good punch volume, something he could employ in this fight. Like I said, he moves well. He has a decent defence. And now he doesn't keep a really tight guard, but he has good head movement. And he moves his body well, and he moves around the ring quite well. He's quite fluid in his movements, Thompson. So he's someone you don't just necessarily catch that easily. He's got ring savvy about him, is what I think, and to encapsulate what I think about Thompson. He has long arms. He has a really good reach. If you look at the two guys here, David Price is 6'8" with an 82-inch reach. Now, Thompson still has a bit of height. He's 6'5", but he also has an 81.5-inch reach, so it's only half an inch shorter than David Price is. This is going by BoxRec records, by the way. So Thompson, he does have that good reach, and he uses it very well in fights. He's got a decent jab, but having said that, he shortens his punches very well on the inside. And if you look at a lot of his victories, something he is known for, Thompson, it's for getting actually close to his opponent and wearing them down with shorter body shots, shorter punches. And one of the things that allows him to do this, a main positive to Thompson's game, something he's very good at, inherently good at, is timing. He's very good at timing his opponents. He'll counterpunch you. It's strange because the fighter will come in, and it won't be like, I don't know if you can. It is a counterpunch, but it's not in the classic sense. It seems like Thompson he just throws his shots at the right time. He's not necessarily doesn't necessarily wait for the opponent. In the middle of a brawl on the inside, he can throw a beautiful shot, perfectly timed, when his opponent's halfway through his shot himself. And if you look at a few of Thompson's fights, you'll notice this. He's very good at timing his opponent. Something he could, that could be a danger of Price in this fight. He can punch with both hands. Now he's left-handed, I'm saying he's left-handed. He fights southpaw, okay? But I've heard, I believe it was Teddy Atlas during one of his fights, a few fights ago, saying that Thompson actually uses his right hand for other sports outside the ring. So he plays golf right-handed. he likes temping bowling, and he bowls right-handed. This is a guy who can use both fists. Another danger, another aspect to his game. He's able to use both fists. The key for him in this fight, for me, there's no point bum rushing David Price. I think I've seen a couple of guys do that now, and while they're not on Thompson's level, I don't think trying to bum rush David Price is a good option. I think if you were a shorter fighter and that was your game of inside fighting, I think that would be a good plan. But for Thompson, I think he has the skills and ability to do the opposite. I think he needs to be patient, he needs to stay out of danger, and I think he needs to take David Price later into this fight. I think that's when he might have a better chance. I think early on he needs to try and figure out Price. He needs to stay away from those power shots, really keep it a bit more cautious. I don't think he's going to be that cautious because, like I said, he likes to throw punches himself. But I think he has the ability to be able to try and take this in later into the fight, later than the other guys have been able to take it against David Price. And then we'll see this, maybe see what David Price's stamina is like, what he does when if he's frustrated. Because Thompson has the ability to try and frustrate David Price in this fight, and that's maybe what I'm looking for, to try and frustrate David Price, take him to a place he's never been before. That's, I think, Thompson's best option in this fight. Easier said than done, I know, but you know, that would be a good plan in my eyes. The question mark over Thompson is obviously his age. What is he, 40 now? Just over 40? I'm not sure of his exact age. But like I said, he's been around the block. He is getting on a bit, but he's that type of fighter who he shows experience in the ring. He shows life experience in the ring. It's kind of strange saying that, but it's like a guy who's lived life and he's had these experiences, and he goes in the ring and he doesn't do anything stupid. He knows where he is. He's got his head in his shoulders, and he knows not to do what not to do in the ring. You know, not to bum rush a guy who can just take you out with one punch. He's the type of guy who can clinically assess what's going on and actually give himself a fair shot in the ring. You know, he may not be an absolute world beater, but he tends to give himself a decent shot in fights. And you know, makes his opponent think as well. Makes his opponent's mind start ticking over. And that's where he could bring frustration into this fight into his favour. So that's my take on Tony Thompson and what I think he could do in this fight, the aspects I think he brings. But again, like I said, age is not on his side, and looking at Price now, we all know Price lives off power. You could even question that being in with Vladimir, is that as dangerous as being in the ring with David Price? You would argue on recent record, no, it's not, because Price is knocking guys out left, right and centre. As soon as he seems to make contact, guys seem to crumble. His power just seems to tell in every fight. These guys just can't live with it. He really does have supreme power. I didn't like his last fight against Matt Skelton. I thought that was a silly fight to have. Never thought Skelton would be competitive. I just thought it was another padded name for the record. I thought fighting a guy like Sam Sexton was pretty good because his record was decent, and Sexton had been through a couple of good battles with Derek Chisora on a domestic scene. But then, having said that, I watched the fight with Skelton, and Skelton seemed to have a couple of successful moments when he was trying to kind of rush in on David Price, and we saw the first little glimpses of how will David Price cope with a guy who manages to get through on him. And he did look a bit ruffled and rushed at times, you know, kind of like we saw with Tyson Fury in a few of his earlier fights. When someone gets inside and they're up on the ropes, and you just stop for a second and think, this guy's in a bit of trouble. You know, he's not really dealing with it in a very safe manner. He's kind of out of his comfort zone. And that's what I kind of felt with David Price on a couple of occasions while that fight lasted. So I still have question marks over David Price's defence. Only because I haven't really been able to see it. We haven't had anyone who's really tested him. And I'm not just on about his chin, I'm on about his defence, the way he defends that chin, the way he's able to, if the tables turn and his opponent comes and tries to take him out, how he defends and how he takes that. This is definitely a step up in class, but I think that you know, height and reach advantage he still has over Thompson. He definitely has the power. We know David Price has immense power. I'm going for David Price to win this by 5th round stoppage. It could go a bit longer, maybe the 7th round, but I think that David Price takes this fight. I think the power still tells. I think maybe Thompson has a good couple of early rounds, but then Price catches him and takes him out like he did with the rest. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the fight on the weekend, and I hope I've given you some food for thought. This is Boxped, and I'm out.